দর্শক শুভেচ্ছা আজকে আপনাদেরকে আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি আমাদের বিশেষ সাক্ষাৎকারে আজকে আমাদের সাথে আছেন একজন বিশেষ অতিথি মিস্টার এসএসটিও তিনি সিঙ্গাপুর বিজনেস ফেডারেশনের চেয়ারম্যান তিনি বাংলাদেশে এসেছেন একটা বড় গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ডেলিগেশন নিয়ে এবং বাংলাদেশের সাথে আগামী দিনের সিঙ্গাপুরের ব্যবসায়িক সম্পর্ককে বৃদ্ধি দেওয়ার জন্যই এই ট্যুরটা মিসেস টিও এসএসটিও ওয়েলকাম টু বাংলাদেশ
Thank you. Good to be here.
So please explain our viewers that what is SBF and how do you feel to be in Bangladesh?
Well, SBF is stand for Singapore Business Federation. It is the apex business chamber. It was formed 15 years ago by constitution that any company in Singapore, whether foreign or local owned, as long as you're Singapore based and you have $1 million pay up capital, you have to be members. So at the moment we have about 24,500 members and 70% of them are SME.
Oh, that's a big group.
Yes, it is the chamber of chamber. It represents the whole, the interest of the whole business community. It acts as a bridge between the government and the community and also for advocacy.
And, policy advocacy.
Policy advocacy and we also look into opening up new market. That's why we are here. We're excited to be here. So I have known Bangladesh for a long time because we have business here for over almost 30 years. But many
3 decades.
3 decades, yes. Because my family is in shipping business.
Yes.
But for many Singaporean, I think due to their ignorance and maybe sometimes the media reporting is that they always maybe look at the more negative, like the bombing last year. And some people think that Bangladesh is a very backward country, only cheap labor. Yet country is moving. You look at the numbers, very impressive. The last few years, 6 to 7% growth, large young population, and in fact this time, 50% of the delegates. There are 38 of us from 32 companies. Half have not been here, but so far after here since last evening, everybody is very happy what they saw and what they hear.
No, I think that you're absolutely right. I think Bangladesh has been able to make that economic leap over the last 1 decade.
Yes.
I think our per capita income grew 3 times nearly over the last decade. Now, definitely, Bangladesh is no longer the country in the 80s that people branded it. So, tell us more about the objective of this particular mission that you have. You come up with a big delegation representing a lot of sectors from construction to education, right? So, what kind of objectives do you have now?
Well, the first objective is to introduce Bangladesh to Singapore company, and as you mentioned, they represent many different sectors where Singapore are strong in: education, urban planning, consultancy, energy, fast-moving consumer goods, general trading. So in fact, we have divided our members into 4 groups, namely power is power energy, construction engineering, fast-moving consumer goods and education. And in fact, they have now gone to this morning. They went out to meet many of their counterparts, and I think
in the government.
No, private sector.
Private sector.
So already, I think many of the joint venture going to be formed. I think many of them now do intend to set up their operation here. But interestingly, this time in the delegates, we also have 10. Members from the Singapore Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce.
So
these are Bangladeshis living and working in Singapore businessmen who actually use Singapore as a headquarter to expand their business. So in fact, these 10 members come in, actually can also share experience with their counterpart here to tell Bangladesh company that if they want to go overseas, either they go direct or in fact for Southeast Asia or other part of Asia. In fact, Singapore is a very good regional HQ for them. So I really hope that it's a two-way link, not only Singapore coming here, but also for Bangladesh company to go out through Singapore, and better still if Singapore and Bangladeshi company can form joint venture to go to third country.
দর্শক আমি যদি একটু ব্যাখ্যা দিই আপনাদের যে ওনারা এসেছেন সিঙ্গাপুরের সাথে বাংলাদেশের যে অর্থনৈতিক সম্পর্কটা সেটার অনেকটাই হচ্ছে না, কারণ একে অপরকে আমরা জানি না কি সুযোগ আছে কি সম্ভাবনা আছে। তো তারা যেই বড় ডেলিগেটটা বাংলাদেশে নিয়ে এসেছেন সেইখানে কি কি সুযোগ আছে বাংলাদেশি ব্যবসায়ীরা সিঙ্গাপুরে পাবেন বা সিঙ্গাপুরি ব্যবসায়ীদের বাংলাদেশে কী কী সুযোগ আছে, এই নলেজ ডেভেলপমেন্টের জন্যই তারা এসেছেন, এই এক ধরনের অ্যাওয়ারনেস যে বাংলাদেশে কী কী সম্ভাবনায় তারা বিনিয়োগ করতে পারেন। সো Mr. SS, you feel we know that Singapore is going to become the president or chairman of ASEAN.
We will chair ASEAN next year.
Exactly, yes. You'll chair ASEAN next year. Does that open up new possibilities for Bangladesh, because we sit in the regional forum, right?
Well, you see in the South Asia Forum, but I think what is interesting is that, you know, ASEAN is a country of 10 countries combined together, and it is now the 4th largest economy bloc, you know, and I think, again, we have very large young population. I do believe that, in fact, you know, if anything, between ASEAN and the South Asia grouping, Bangladesh is sitting in the middle.
Yes.
Right. So, in fact, I think that there's a lot of opportunity for Bangladesh to cooperate with ASEAN.
Okay.
And Singapore, I mean, I believe that Singapore and Bangladesh can play a very important bridging role, right, to link ASEAN and South Asia together.
Okay.
The fact is that many Bangladeshis, they have studied there. In Singapore, they have worked there, and you have many Singaporean friends.
Yes, yes.
So I think and a common language, you know, we were all ex-British colony.
Yes.
Many of the legal system, you know, civil system are very similar. So in fact, an interesting thought is that, you know, somehow maybe Bangladesh can link into ASEAN, and ASEAN can link into the South Asia through Bangladesh.
Yes. দর্শক, যেটা উনি বলতে চাচ্ছেন যে ASEAN-এর যেই ট্রেড একটা ফোরাম আছে যেখানে 10টি দেশ আছে, সেখানে বাংলাদেশ এখনও মেম্বার স্টেট নয়, কিন্তু সিঙ্গাপুর হয়তো আগামী বছর ASEAN-কে চেয়ার করবেন, এবং তার মাধ্যমে সিঙ্গাপুর এবং বাংলাদেশের এক ধরনের আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিংয়ের মাধ্যমে বাংলাদেশের ASEAN রিজনে অনেকগুলি অর্থনৈতিক সম্ভাবনা খুলতে পারে যদি আমরা সঠিক সিদ্ধান্তগুলি নিতে পারি। Coming back to your trip in Bangladesh, are there, you are representing various business interests.
Yes.
We see from construction to education to energy. Yes. But do you feel like, as Bangladesh is, you know, Bangladesh, our Prime Minister envisions that Bangladesh will be a developed country by 2041. We want to be an upper middle income country by 2030. Do you think that, and for that we need technology transfer, knowledge of new production process, new service sector, new production management, financial sector, so many things that are untapped in Bangladesh. Which particular area do you think Singapore can bring in where Bangladesh does not have? Which particular avenue do you think Singapore's input will be very important for our growth?
Well, I can't say we are very good, but I think we are a bit ahead of other countries. One is actually in urban planning.
Yes.
Urban planning, I think, you know, Singapore has even done urban planning now in Vietnam, in Indonesia, in China, and in fact in India. So I think urban planning can be something we can cooperate. Number two is even looking at the special economic zone industrial park. Again, we have companies very successful in Indonesia, in Malaysia,
in setting
Vietnam, up special industrial park.
Yes.
Again, I know you already have industrial park, let's say for India, for China, for Japan. But we actually the industrial park to attract a company not only from Singapore, but from, let's say, the ASEAN region.
Okay.
The other one, I think, besides urban planning, industrial park, I think we can help is maybe in IT.
Okay.
I know that you are pushing for IT Bangladesh.
Digital Bangladesh.
Yes, which I'm very impressed. We are developing into a smart nation.
Okay.
We have a national agenda. So for that, I think, and there are very many talented Bangladeshis, you know, can do IT work. So I think there are ways we can work together. And last but not least, I think in maybe in transport and logistics, you know, in any developing country like Bangladesh, one issue you have is actually, you know, road congestion, port congestion, and all that.
Very true.
You know, in fact, we believe that if you can bring down the logistic costs, actually you make the economy more competitive.
Right.
You can make something very cheap, but if the goods cannot be shipped out efficiently and, you know, cost competitively, you actually lose the competitiveness.
I want to focus on this issue of urban planning, because you see that Bangladesh, if you take out small countries with less than 10 million people as population, Bangladesh has one of the highest population density in the world.
Yes.
And you can see the implication of it in our traffic, in our urban city management. So we were aware, or we were thinking that Singapore is playing some role in India in developing smart cities.
Yes, we are. I think we are developing some smart city in India.
So can you explain our viewers what is a smart city and what can you do with smart city in Bangladesh?
Well, smart city is where when you develop the city, you're not only looking at, let's say, first of all, where do you create the jobs?
Yes.
With the jobs, where do you create the accommodation for the workers? From there, schools for their children.
So comprehensive.
Is what we call a satellite town.
Okay.
All right, and with that, you actually even go into the utilities. Even we have now city where we design, we look at even wind directions.
Okay.
How can you increase the ventilation so that you bring down the temperature?
Okay.
So these are the things we look at. We look at garbage disposal so that you can have a green and sustainable environment. I won't say we are very good, but we have learned a lot, and I think we are quite prepared to share this experience with many countries, including Bangladesh.
You are going to meet business houses. I know you're going to meet people from FBCCI.
Yes.
And you are scheduled to meet the Honorable Prime Minister of
Yes.
Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. In terms, and you're working with BIDA, which is
BIDA,
Bangladesh
yes.
Investment Development
Yes.
Authority. Do you feel that the policy climate in Bangladesh at present, I'm sure you're reviewing the policy climate, do you feel that it's good for Singaporean investors to come in and do business in Bangladesh?
I think so. As I said before, many Singaporeans have a wrong perception of Bangladesh.
Okay.
But I think because I have business here, I've seen a lot of changes in the last few years. And I think despite adversity that you face, with climate and sometimes with natural disaster, you have actually braved the environment. Actually, you have moved forward very, very well. So I wish you all the country all the best, that you do well. And we think that we can share some of the experience. And again, this could be an opportunity for many of our businesses because as SBF, we are encouraging our company to go out,
Yes.
to go international. Traditionally, we look at ASEAN, we look at China, Japan, we look at Africa, Middle East. South Asia, we focus a lot on India and Sri Lanka. And I think it's the time we actually also look into Bangladesh.
Okay.
And I believe that time is right, that more Singapore businesses should come in, look at opportunity. Especially, I encourage the SME, because SME is the one that we need to encourage them to go out and to look for the right partners. And again, I think there's a lot of friendship link between the people of the two countries, through working, through studies, through families. So I think time is right for us to come in. Singapore company shouldn't come in too late, because I know many countries are looking at it. But if anything, I think we have the advantage of the human linkage.
Yes.
Human linkage.
Yes.
And I think we can share some of the experience with the Bangladesh company and the people.
জি দর্শক, আমি যদি একটু ব্যাখ্যা দেই, যিনি বলছেন যে সিঙ্গাপুরের অনেক ব্যাপারে অনেক দক্ষতা আছে। আমরা আরবান প্ল্যানিং নিয়ে কথা বলছিলাম। সিঙ্গাপুর ইতিমধ্যে ইন্ডিয়াতে স্মার্ট সিটি বানাচ্ছে, যেটা ওয়েল ম্যানেজড এবং যেখানে কম্প্রিহেন্সিভভাবে একটা আধুনিক নগর যেভাবে সাজানো উচিত, সিঙ্গাপুর সেই আধুনিক নগর সাজানো নিয়ে ভারতে অনেক কাজ করছে। তো তিনি বলছিলেন যে বাংলাদেশে এই ধরনের আধুনিক নগর করার অনেক সুযোগ আছে, কারণ আমরা জানি যে এই একটা জায়গা যেখানে একটা বাংলাদেশের কিছু চ্যালেঞ্জ আছে, যেহেতু হাই পপুলেশন ডেন্সিটি এবং সিটি ম্যানেজমেন্ট নিয়ে অনেক প্রশ্ন উঠে। তো সেই জায়গায় সিঙ্গাপুর অবশ্যই একটা ভূমিকা রাখবেন। তিনি আরও বলছেন যে বাংলাদেশের যে ইমপ্রেশন বা ইমেজটা আগে ছিল, সেই ইমপ্রেশন এবং ইমেজটা বদলাচ্ছে এবং বিভিন্ন সমস্যা বাংলাদেশে আছে, প্রাকৃতিক বলেন বা অন্যান্য বিষয় বলেন, কিন্তু সিঙ্গাপুরের যেহেতু বাংলাদেশের সাথে সিঙ্গাপুরিয়ানদের একটা পিপল টু পিপল কন্ট্যাক্ট আছে, যেহেতু অনেক বাংলাদেশি সিঙ্গাপুরে থাকেন এবং অনেক বছর ধরে এই পিপল টু পিপল কন্ট্যাক্ট তৈরি হয়েছে, তিনি মনে করেন যে সিঙ্গাপুরে যারা ক্ষুদ্র ব্যবসায়ী এসএমই যাদেরকে আমরা বলি, তারা বাংলাদেশের সাথে একটা দীর্ঘমেয়াদী ব্যবসায়িক সম্পর্ক তৈরি করার সুযোগ থাকতে পারে। If I go back more to the discussion of policies,
Yes.
So you feel that the current policy climate is conducive
Yes.
for the Singaporean business community to come in and participate, but do you think enough is there for any particular areas where you want the government or the bureaucracy to pay attention to? Because you are here and we want to have a, I'm sure no policy framework is perfect. So any particular avenue where you think our policy framework can be further improved, which you can express to our audience that your expectations
well,
are?
without going into details, I think look into your FDI rules, whether it is conducive for people to come here. We know that the country, you have to guard, against certain, interests of the country, like foreign reserves,
yes,
and all that. But so there's a good balance. There should be a good balance between guarding the country interests, but at the same time making the environment business more conducive.
Yes.
So I think for genuine business that come here, try to be as open as you can, make the rules simple,
okay,
and make the rules simple, so that people who come here will find that business they want to do the business, but it's also easy to do business.
Yes.
Ease of doing business is important, being commercial is important, and being pro-business. So I think these are the things that I wish the country can look into. Look at other examples of country, because again, it's not only Bangladesh, but other countries are also competing for the investment.
yes.
So I think that is we hope, and I'm sure the government is doing it. But again, there are certain rules and regulations have been there for years. Yes, and
sure.
I think not to forget is that technology are changing things very fast.
Yes.
In fact, in Singapore, I'm a member of what we call the Future Economic Committee. In fact, we look at the future for Singapore. And one of the things that we're very pay attention to is disruptive technology, how it's going to change things. So I think
job losses, or new skills coming up, replacing old skills.
Yes, I think the relocation of resources, things are changing very fast.
All right.
Right. So I think it's important for the government to, while continue the current good policy, pro-business, but open up and look at opportunities outside. But again, what you have going for you is a stable environment. You have a large population and with a very young population. So that is your strength. You also have a growing business class, middle class.
Yeah.
So that is going to create the own engine for growth. So sometimes don't be afraid of opening up, because people say, oh, if we open up, we're going to lose job, because there's always someone trying to go after your lunch, right? But I think you can't help it. So it's important to see how you can go with the tide.
I mean, all progress is related to the process of creative destruction, right?
Yes,
so new
yes.
jobs will replace
Yes.
old jobs. But
Yes.
আমি যদি দর্শকদের একটু ব্যাখ্যা দেই, উনি বলছেন যে পলিসি ক্লাইমেট যেটা বাংলাদেশে এখন আছে ভালো আছে, বাট it needs to focus on making rules simple, যেহেতু cost of doing business যেন কমে যায়। এবং I think BIDA is working in a very focused manner to reduce cost of doing business in Bangladesh, because I think the general buzz in the business climate in Bangladesh is that simplify, so that we can help the government and we can get the job done.
Yes.
Right? I think that's the general mood of the environment. So I think the last avenue where I would want, what are the opportunities in Singapore which you think Bangladeshi firms can explore, which will create a modern industrial or service base in Bangladesh in future?
Well, as I say, Singapore, has been, has some success in our economy. For example, in Singapore, the foreign trade is 4 times of our GDP.
Yes.
So it's a very open economy. So I think Bangladesh company going there, one, they can have access to cheaper capital.
Okay.
Number 2, the rule of law, transparency, and even arbitration. All right, so that when you come to any agreement, is a place where you resolve any dispute. And I think also it is access to international market. Many multinationals have set up their regional HQ there. For example, Procter & Gamble have put their global product development center there. All right. So I think it is a place where you have a concentration of many foreign companies. Right. So it's a good interaction, good platform.
Right.
And SBF is more than happy to provide the platform. Number 2 is also access to international talent.
Right.
I think for the last few years, it has been the most preferred place for expat to work.
Okay.
I think, and I think that is actually to show that any company who are stationed there can have access to capital, to market,
and human capital,
and also to market intelligence.
Right.
At the same time, I think by being there, it also allows people a chance to know Bangladesh better.
Right.
So that after they meet their friends, then hopefully they will come here.
Right. No,
Yes.
no. Thank you very much, Mr. SSTO. It was fantastic to
Pleasure.
talk to you. I
Pleasure.
hope you all the best wishes, and hopefully you will excel in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
দর্শক, আপনারা শুনলেন আমাদের এই বিশেষ সাক্ষাৎকার মিস্টার SSTO, তিনি চেয়ারম্যান অফ সিঙ্গাপুর বিজনেস ফেডারেশন, বাংলাদেশে এসেছেন এবং আমাদেরকে এই সাক্ষাৎকারটা দিয়েছেন, এবং এর মাধ্যমে বাংলাদেশি কি সুযোগ সুবিধা সিঙ্গাপুরে আছে এবং সিঙ্গাপুরের উদ্যোক্তাদের বাংলাদেশে কি সুযোগ সুবিধা আছে এই ব্যাপারে আমরা জানার চেষ্টা করলাম, এবং আশা করি ইনাদের যোগাযোগের মাধ্যমে, পিপল টু পিপল কন্ট্যাক্টের মাধ্যমে, বিজনেস টু বিজনেস কন্ট্যাক্টের মাধ্যমে বাংলাদেশের অর্থনৈতিক সম্ভাবনা আরও বৃদ্ধি পাবে। আশা করি আপনি আমাদের শোটা পছন্দ করেছেন। ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ।